I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, she still lives with her ex. Got an email here from a viewer. He says, "Hey Corey, how's everything going? I bought your book several years ago, and I've read it more than once. In fact, I've had several phone coaching sessions with you when I was in Alaska. You gave me great advice, and I walked away from a bad relationship. Since then, I have been pretty successful with dating. Thank you." You're welcome. My pleasure to help you. He says, "My situation now is that I am dating several women, but the one I really want to be with seems to be the one I should walk away from. I love being with her, and we get along great and enjoy the time we get to spend with each other. The problem is with her situation. She's divorced for 5 years now, and she has 3 kids. Just over a year ago, before I even met her, she was having a hard time financially, and so was her ex. She made the decision to move back in with him until she was back on her feet. The problem is, now the ex thinks that they are a couple again, even though she has told him different. The kids are happy that both their parents are in the same house. Whenever we talk about it, she says she wants to leave, but doesn't want to hurt the kids or even her ex. Though she's not in love with him, she still cares about him, and she's told me that she's going to tell him, but keeps chickening out when it comes time to do it." Yeah, it sounds like she's just trying to avoid any kind of confrontation or an uncomfortable situation. He says, "It feels like we're sneaking around to keep him from being upset." That sounds like a lot of fun. He says, "I don't like being someone's secret. She is the person I really feel like I want to be with, but I just don't see her leaving him anytime soon. I want to tell her to just give me a call if her situation changes and walk away. She says she loves me deeply and wants to be with me, but I can't keep doing this. Is there something I can say to her to give her the strength to get her out of her living situation?" Well, it's interesting you bring this up because I had a gal, I think I might have written about her in my book years ago. This was a gal that actually posed for Playboy years ago. So I go to pick her up at her house, and I find out that she actually lives with her ex-husband, and I think she had 2 or 3 kids. And her kids were a mess. The house is a mess. It's like I walk in, she's not ready for our date, and so I go back into her room, and she closes the door, and all of her kids are outside the door banging and kicking the door and screaming because they want to get in. And it's just, she was a mess. She's gorgeous. Absolutely one of the most beautiful women you would ever see in your life. But she was a mess. And I think I went out her maybe 2-3 times, and she just wasn't doing it for me. Plus, I didn't want to get involved in that kind of messy situation. But it wasn't a situation where the ex was trying to get back together. They were just living together because obviously he was the provider. He was paying all the bills. And she wasn't making a lot of money because she was modeling and doing other things and trying to make it in the modeling business. But like I said, it was a situation that I just, I didn't want to get involved in it. And, when you look at it long term, what are the options? If you're going to continue to grow closer and closer together with this woman, are you someday going to want to marry her? Are you going to want to move in with her? Those are things you got to consider. So if you guys are going to stay together, ideally, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you grow closer and closer together until you ultimately end up living under the same roof. And I didn't see you mention anything about her moving in with you. It sounds like you really just want her to move in and get her own place somewhere so you guys can continue to date. And so it's kind of an awkward situation, obviously, but at the same time, it's going to be difficult for her because the kids are happy that mom and dad are living together under the same roof, and it's obvious that, just like you said, the ex-husband thinks they're a couple and wants her back, but yet she doesn't have the guts to tell him that, hey, we're not getting back together, we're not together, nor will it ever happen again. And so she's either really deep down afraid, or maybe deep down she's kind of rekindling some feelings within herself that she might want to get back together with him, especially, obviously, during the holidays when they're together as a family. So, what are your options? What is it that you want out of this? If she's living there for financial reasons and she can't afford to get a place on her own, what are our options? She can move in with you. She's not going to get her own place because she says, obviously, that she can't afford it. And so your choices are, that unless you're going to invite her to move in with you and with her kids and everything, if you're not really... I mean, here's the thing that I learned over the years about dating women with children. It's like, when you really love a woman, you'll love her kids. But if you're not really completely 100% committed to the woman, then you're not going to be completely 100% committed to helping her raise her children and be a stepdad to them. And so at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, what is it that you want out of this relationship? Where do you see it going long term? And from my perspective, one of the interesting things is that you're still dating other women, as you mentioned. So, I mean, if you're not really exclusive with this girl, how can you expect her to leave the situation that she's in for an uncertain future with you? And you admit in your email here that you're still dating other women, but the one you really want, she's got a messy family situation. So if you're going to continue dating other women and you're not really exclusive with this girl, you can't really expect her to ditch her move out of her family and put herself into a bad bind financially when you guys aren't really together as a couple. And so if you've been together with this person for a period of time and you're still kind of half in, half out, meaning you're still into her, but you're still dating these other women, and out of all the women that you're dating, you like her the most, but she's got a messy situation. And so unless you're ready to take on her burden financially and help raise her kids, then my advice to you would just be to continue dating other women, keep having fun with her, and eventually you'll find somebody whose situation is not messy. Now here's the interesting thing that you gotta do some self-reflection on your own, is you gotta ask yourself, is this somebody that you really want to be with? And if the question is no, then maybe you should move on, because it's like, I see some of the things that you're talking about here, and it kind of gives me the impression that in a way you're avoiding a relationship altogether by wanting or being involved with somebody who's got a messy situation. So it's kind of like an all or nothing. Either she stays where she's at, or you guys get closer together and you end up moving in together. And so the question is do you really want that responsibility? And if not, like I said, you got to look at, are you dating this woman as a way to avoid being in a relationship with her? That's something you got to ask. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can't change people and who they are. Two people either grow together or they grow apart. And if this woman is not ideally what you really want, if the situation is not what you really want, you just got to have the guts to admit to yourself, maybe it's time to move on and date somebody else that can offer me what it is that I want. And if you've been, I've coached you before, and you've been reading my emails. Not a lot of guys do that. Men and women both do it. We get stuck on relationships. We get stuck on people and situations that aren't ideally what we want. In a way, it helps us avoid a relationship altogether. Or, give you an example, like a guy meets a girl, he becomes friends with her for a year, he's got a crush on her, he pukes up all of his feelings to her, and she gives him the let's just be friends speech, or let's be friends for now and see what happens. And so he thinks he's got a real chance. Meanwhile, she's dating and sleeping with other guys, and he's sitting here with his personal life on hold, waiting for her situation to change. And so you either accept this woman the way she is, or you move on and find somebody who's what you really want. And a lot of people do it. Men and women do those kinds of things where they get themselves into situations, or they get themselves hung up on somebody who's not completely available, who's not really completely open to having a relationship with them, as a way to avoid the relationship issue altogether. And so my advice to you is you really got to do some serious reflection on what you really want out of this. And so if you've been dating this gal for a period of time and you're not really ready to commit to her and you're still dating other women, that tells me that you're really not that into this girl. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, she might be a 6 or a 7, maybe an 8 for you. Because if this was somebody that was knocking your fucking socks off and you were knocking her socks off and you were having a great time, I mean, it would be completely different what you'd be writing me. You wouldn't be dealing with issues. And so it kind of looks to me like you're trying to make a little bit more out of what the connection or the chemistry that you guys have than is really actually there. And if you really want to be truly happy long term, you got to be with somebody that you're crazy about and who feels the same way about you. And the whole purpose of a relationship is you go there to give. You're there to meet each other's needs. And from the tone of your email, it doesn't sound like she's meeting your needs, and it also doesn't sound like you're really meeting her needs. And it's really like moving towards a direction where the two of you are going to end up living together. So my opinion, just from what you've written here and what you've shared, is keep doing what you're doing. Leave the situation the way it is. Keep dating her. Keep dating other women until you find somebody that just knocks your socks off. And then you just stop seeing her and stop seeing the other women. Because the reason why I teach that you should date several women at the same time is because if you're new to applying this stuff and the things that I teach, it's like you really don't know what you don't know yet. And so by dating lots of different women, it keeps your options open. And as you're continually in the flow of meeting new women, when you're dating 3 or 4 women, it makes it very easy to meet more women. And so what happens is over time, the quality of the pool, so to speak, or your little stable or your concubine of women is going to increase. And when you find somebody you really gel with and who really gels with you, over time, you'll just naturally start spending more and more time with that person and less time with these other women that you're dating until the point where eventually you both end up living under the same roof together because you both want the same things. So those are some things that I would consider if I were you. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen, and send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several days to get back to you with a response. And if you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions.